Morning.
Welcome, welcome. We are recording if you just heard that. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to give a couple minutes for everyone to get into this space with us, and we will get started. So if you want to throw your name or in the chat or introduce yourself, you can do so now, and we'll get ready. Get my screen ready. Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sparking Youth Action. CELF's Young Voices for the Planet film series will be aired today during this 1 hour time together. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Vicky Garufi-Loiacono. I'm Director of Education with the Children's Environmental Literacy Foundation. I'm joined by Tara Stafford-Oconsi as well, our Executive Director. And we are going to kick this off today, the special feature with Lynn Sherry in a moment. So just a brief overview of CELF, that's for short. Our mission is establishing sustainability as an integral part of every child's pre-K-12 learning experience. We do this so that sustainability becomes a lens for learning in the classroom and out of the classroom with practical applications for bringing this to your students. And we launched in 2003, so nearly over 20 years. We started here in New York in the tri-state area, have expanded to Texas, and due to virtual capabilities, we've also touched point in California and all along the East Coast as well, reaching over 1.5 million students, over 16,000 teachers, over 5,000 schools, and also working closely with schools to achieve the National Green Ribbon Award. And so we do several different programs making pathways to sustainability accessible. We run annual summer institutes where K-12 educators come together, both in person and we've done it virtually as well, where they can put dedicated time to digging into their curriculum and looking at where does sustainability already exist and how can they leverage that. We don't like to make sustainability feel like one more thing to do, but making it interdisciplinary and collaborative across grade levels and content areas. We also, with that, work to achieve more of a whole school approach, knowing that sustainability can't just fall in the science department or the one teacher that does the garden club, but how we can connect classroom, curriculum, and community through bringing sustainability as a culture for the school and the district. And so that is one way that we really customize our approach and work more closely with the district over the course of several years. We also run an annual civic science program, which leverages our inquiry to action framework, which I'll speak to in a moment. But this is where sustainability can lie in the school community by making environmental issues of concern a priority to tackle, collecting data and finding solutions to bring forward for the students and their learning, which is a little mostly what we're talking about today during this segment. We also bring green careers and green experiences to the schools where students can get out in their community, exploring nature, data collection, and really seeing what green pathways could look like for them in their everyday lives and potential future careers. So, as I mentioned, our civic science inquiry to action framework grounds us in environmental literacy and civic engagement. We walk teachers through a 6-step framework from inquiry, data collection, analysis, collaboration, design, and ultimately action, which we'll see modeled here today in Lynn Sherry's films, and also in our annual student symposium every year. So this is just a great framework. We can drop it in the chat as well, but we'll mention this a little bit as we go through this. So, without further ado, I welcome Lynn Sherry, author and filmmaker, to our space today. 30 award-winning children's books, including The Great Kapok Tree, A River Ran Wild. She's founder of Young Voices on Climate Change and creator of the Young Voices for the Planet films, highlighting youth-driven climate solutions. Her work has been featured in National Geographic, PBS, and the United Nations. She's currently the artist in residence at Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. So good morning, Lynn. We're going to turn it over to you, and thanks for joining us today.
Well, thank you very much for hosting this. Really appreciate it. And thank you also to the Worldwide Climate and Justice Education Month that Bard College is hosting, and David Blockstein, who's made this all happen. So thank you so much. It's great to be here. And thank you for all of you for coming. So um, this is part of Worldwide Climate and Justice Education Month. And um, you can see that
You
Bard
have to share
College.
your screen, Lynn. Sorry. I
Oh,
don't see your screen.
can't see it yet. Oh, geez. Okay.
That's
Here.
okay. One moment.
Okay.
Thanks for everyone's patience.
Okay. All right. I'll go back to this. Okay. Can you see it now?
We can, you just have to enlarge it and go to present mode. There you go. We got it now.
Okay. All right. So this was the first slide. This is sponsored by the Children's Environmental Literacy Foundation, and thank you so much for that great introduction. And I'd like to also thank the Worldwide Climate and Justice Education Month and Bard College and David Blockstein, who I see there. Hi, David, for organizing this. And this is part of the Worldwide Climate and Justice Education Month. Hopefully we're drawing attention to the climate crisis. The upshot of my whole talk is that kids can make a difference. And I'm going to be telling stories about that are really heartening about kids who have changed laws, changed people's minds, just really done amazing things. So initially, I started out as a children's book author and illustrator. And as I was traveling around the country and talking about the destruction of the rainforest or pollution of rivers, initially, I didn't know about the importance of teaching about solutions. And so this is back, in the 1970s and 80s when I would tell kids these stories, and sometimes they, get very upset. Sometimes they cry. I thought, this is not good. This is not, helping kids to um, learn about the um, learning about the environment in a way that's going to be healthy. And but then after I gave these talks, people would come up to me and tell me these stories about what kids have done. And I realized that the doom and gloom demoralized the kids, but that the success stories and solutions lifted them up and empowered and motivated them. So I so that's what I focused on. But when I was a teenager, I had this page from Ranger Rick magazine up on my wall, and it's a story about Tom Lovejoy, and he was in this picture maybe about 20 years old. He was a PhD student and studying birds in the Amazon, and I was as a kid here I was just totally taken by this, and um, just had this fascination with the rainforest. And then when it's like fast forward 10 years, I go to Washington, D.C., and Tom Lovejoy is speaking at the National Zoo. And I went up to him afterwards and told him I'd illustrated a few books for World Wildlife Fund. He was at that time the director of World Wildlife Fund. And I told him about this book about the rainforest that I'd written. And he said, "Oh, well, can I see it?" So I came in, I showed it to him, and he loved it. And he facilitated my going to his study site in the Amazon. He had something called the Forest Fragment Project, where he was studying how much of the rainforest you could cut and still have animals be able to survive within certain square hectare areas. So here I am it's in Brazil. I just would walk from the camp, which is a very primitive camp, and sit and draw all day and listen to the animals, and things would come right up to me. Hummingbirds and all kinds of mammals would just come right up to me. Birds would land on me. So I have Tom to thank for introducing me to the rainforest, and he's been a mentor. He actually passed away, but he was a mentor for most of my life. So I wrote The Great Kapok Tree, and it became very popular. And it was a New York Times bestseller, sold millions of copies. And it did exactly what I had hoped, is that kids read it and they realized that animals really needed our help, that humans had an impact on their lives, on the lives of these animals. I had so many kids come up to me and say, I never realized that what we did made such a difference in the lives of animals, that we could impact them, and you can either impact them for good or you could really harm them. So this was I think the power of the book is that it gave them an emotional experience. So it was the story of the man goes into the forest and he's going to cut the tree. His boss tells him he should cut the tree, and then he falls asleep, and all the animals come down and whisper in his ear a litany of reasons why they should protect the forest. And it's very personal. Each animal and bird has a reason why they should they feel he should cut the tree. And at the end, he has this moral dilemma, which is, does he listen to his boss or does he do what his heart tells him is right? And he drops his axe and he walks out of the rainforest and he saves that whole forest. So this book teaches ecology, it teaches about the rainforest, but it also teaches about how it's important to do what's right. And if someone tells you to do something that you don't feel is the right thing to do, that you say no. And I think that that's been the power of this book too. It's given kids an ability to resist. It's like permission to resist if someone's telling you to do something you don't feel is right. So then all the kids were saying, well, what can we do? And so realizing that it was really important to teach about solutions, that the antidote to this fear and demoralization was action, I got much more involved in helping kids to figure out a way that they could save rainforests. Sharing the stories about what they were doing, like this group of kids, the school put on this amazing musical with amazing costumes of the Great Kapok Tree. And that's something that a lot of schools do, is they put on these performances of the book. But other kids were just on their own starting things like this, Pennies for Protection. These kids saving pennies and buying acres in the rainforest. So that's how I found out about the Children's Eternal Rainforest. One of the teachers came up to me in Michigan, told me about this place. And children from around the world had raised enough money to save what is now the largest protected cloud forest in Costa Rica. And it's all saved by children. And it started with these kids in Sweden. This scientist, Sharon Kinsman from Maine, visited Sweden, visited this classroom, told them about the beautiful rainforest. And the kids said, well, is there anything we can do to save it? And one of the third graders said, well, let's raise money. And they started raising money. And they raised so much that the high school kids decided they were going to get in on it. And then the high school kids found out that there was a grant that was offered by the government of Sweden, that if kids had raised money for something environmental that was worth funding, that they would match the funds. And so then all these kids realized that whatever they raised would be doubled. They ended up just raising a huge amount of money. And then it got international attention in all the news media. And then kids from all around the world started raising money, and they just have raised enough to buy this huge area in Costa Rica. And you can see this is from these maps in 1950, how it was Costa Rica was very forested, but then by 1983 had be almost deforested. And then you can see how the bottom map, which is cut off, but it's all coming back and saved what was left there. So I went to this Bosque Eterno de los Niños last winter and the winter before, and we were brainstorming about how do we get more kids involved in this again after kind of it's been not as active. So I wrote and illustrated this coloring book. I wrote it with the people at the Bosque Eterno de los Niños, the Children's Eternal Rainforest, which is a nonprofit. And this is really, it's a great way to educate everybody about how the kids save the rainforest, but also it's a coloring book, and it's a way that they can raise funds. So it's a fundraiser for the Children's Eternal Rainforest. And here, it's every day I would just go walk out my door. I was like living in the rainforest for a couple months, and it was pretty wonderful. In the beginning, the first success story I heard back in the 1970s. We was visiting the school in Michigan, and this teacher told me the story about these kids who had been studying this forest, and they had they knew all about the different animals and plants that were in it, and then they found it was going to be cut down, and these are third graders, they're really upset, and they went to their teacher and said, "Is there anything we can do?" And she said, "Well, we can go talk to the developer." And they did, and they asked, "Can you sell it? Can you give it to us and call it the Forest of the Children?" And he said, "Well, I can't just give it to you, but I'll sell it to you for $100,000. So these kids started fundraising, and they didn't raise, and then they ended up raising $100,000. Actually, they raised $200,000, and they bought this forest, and it's protected now. So I started sharing stories, this story and stories like this, and it was just amazing. Once kids realized that they had some power, they went. It gave them the inspiration to go save their ecosystems around where they lived. And this actually happened with tall cypress, where they had read the Great Cape Tree, and there was a cypress swamp next to their school that was going to be developed. And these kids went and advocated and testified, and they ended up saving it was one of the last cypress swamps near where they lived, and it's now Tall Cypress Wildlife Preserve, saved by these children. Beltwoods was another example where there was so you see that little red house in the middle of this picture. So around that house, the man who owned that house owned that, but then all the other areas called the Beltwoods, and that was going to be cut down. It was owned by the Episcopal Church. They promised they wouldn't sell the land, and they went back on their promise, and it was going to get sold and cut down. And these children started writing letters to the bishop of the Episcopal Church all over the country, and it got picked up by Sunday Morning News with Charles Osgood, and they got on national TV. And my book Flute's Journey was part of the story because I put this Beltwoods in the book, and whatever the church did, that's how I was going to end the book, and they knew that. So anyway, the church decided to sell the land to the Trust for Public Land instead of developing it. But it was this pressure from international publicity, the kids reading their letters on Sunday Morning News with Charles Osgood, and they actually came to the Beltwoods and filmed the kids there. Now, climate change is the environmental issue that trumps all environmental issues because it's really planetary, and it's about the whole future of life on Earth. And Gary Brash and I traveled all around the world talking to scientists about their research and wrote this book, How We Know What We Know About Our Changing Climate. Scientists and Kids Explore Global Warming. And around this time, I was thinking, well, how do you frame climate change in a way that isn't going to really turn people off and become depressing? Because like that book, um, our book, even though it had a lot of success stories about kids in the end, still the science was really troubling. And so um, around this time, I read this article in the Journal of Behavior and Social Psychology about motivated avoidance. And motivated avoidance is when people are motivated to avoid hearing about something if when they first hear about it, it's framed in a way that's really um, depressing, upsetting, scary. They're motivated to avoid hearing about it again. They push it away. And once they're in this state of motivated avoidance, it's really hard to get them back, even if you tell them success stories after that. So um, I became very outspoken about the importance of, if you're going to be teaching kids a science, that you start with success stories. And so Gary Brosh and I developed this film project, Young Voices for the Planet. Actually, it was called originally Young Voices on Climate Change, but then the Young Voices for the Planet films. And they embody this concept of motivated avoidance, that we would tell, we would we would be telling people, showing kids these amazing stories of youth success. And this was a New York Times op-ed that Andy Revkin, where he interviewed me on this whole concept of beginning to teach about troubling topics with success stories, and especially youth success stories, which really move people. Albert Bandura is, or was, the um, the author of a book that was used in most psychology courses called Self-Efficacy, the Exercise of Control. And self-efficacy is the ability of a person to believe that they have the power to make a difference. And before you can actually take action, before I say a person or a kid can take action, they have to believe that maybe they're going to succeed, that they have this idea of self-efficacy, that they have the ability to make change. And so if they don't have that, they won't even try. And so Albert and I were, he said to me, these films embody, the Young Voices for the Planet films embody my 70 years of social science research. And we wrote this article for American Psychologist about the power of these Young Voices for the Planet films to give kids self-efficacy, to give them the belief that they can make a difference, so that they will start to take action. And there's so many examples of youth today who are taking action. This is Jamie Margolin, who started this Youth Climate March. She wrote this book, which I strongly recommend, Youth to Power. It's just, her voice is just so wonderful. It's just really inspiring. And then Gary and I created these 13 Young Voices for the Planet films over the course of 13 years. They were also written up in this article, in this magazine, this journal, sorry, Education in Times of Environmental Crisis, Teaching Children to be Agents of Change. So as I've gone around the country, I began just always speaking about civic engagement, hope, and youth solutions, and suggesting that activism be framed not so much as just activism for its own sake, but as part of our democratic tradition in this country of fighting for our rights. And when you look at the history, women's rights, civil rights, children's rights to a livable planet, and a future like our children's trust, voting rights, human rights, Black Lives Matter, I Matter, animal rights. So there are all these people who have just gotten together and decided they're going to make change. My next book is about land conservation, and it's stories about people, like sometimes 8 people around a dining room table, who decide they're going to save this big tract of land, and then they succeed in doing that. So the first kid I met, who when I was looking for kids for this Young Voices for the Planet project was Alec Loors. And he was 12 years old. He wanted to be one of the climate speakers for Al Gore, but he was rejected because he was too young. And he was just such a dynamo. And he wanted the kids to sue the federal and state governments for failure to protect their future. And our children's trust was I'm not sure exactly, how when he met the people who started those lawsuits, but initially the lawyers were going to be doing the arguing, and Alex said to them, "No, we want to do the arguing. We want to be put on the stands. We want to speak out." And that's how it became to be, that our children's trust became these young people themselves testifying, which was so much more powerful. I'm just going to show you a few of the kids in the other kids in the Young Voices for the Planet films, and then we're going to show you 3 of them. Felix Finkbeiner, this is Plant for the Planet. I filmed him when he was 11. He had planted hundreds of trees at that point. He's from Germany. And then he was really savvy with social media and the internet and started this group and ended up planting millions of trees. And he's now in his early 20s, and he has a PhD, and he's one of the world experts on trees. And he was the keynote speaker at Davos, in the big conference in Switzerland. These 3 girls are from Save Tomorrow. I'm going to show you this film. And these are from Dreaming in Green. These girls saved their school $53,000 in energy bills by changing a lot of the energy systems of their school. And Save Tomorrow, this is here they are testifying at their town meeting. So this is a website of the Children's Environmental Literacy Foundation, and I'm really grateful to the Children's Environmental Literacy Foundation for having taken over the films, integrating them into their programs, and they are all the films are now on their website and available to anybody. Here's their website, and you can just go to selfeducation.org and go to /YVFP, and you can watch the films anytime, and they're freely available. And it's been a really great partnership because you can, as you heard from Vicki in the beginning, we really are on the same page as far as empowering youth and getting to educators, showing educators how they can empower youth and civic education. So I'm going to show you this film first. This is Save Tomorrow. And these girls, as you'll see, these girls saw the rest of the Young Voices for the Planet films, and then they were motivated by watching the films to do what they did.
Can you maximize that, Lynn, on your YouTube?
We're really, really close. We've been really close since like kindergarten. Working as a team it gives you much more courage than if you're just working as an individual. If you're alone, it's always scary.
I have these 2 friends, Mari McBride and Lily Georgopoulos, and I've known them since I was before preschool.
I think what binds us together is our passion for what's going on around us. We're all doers.
So when we were little and we were first hearing about climate change,
It was on the news, it was in the papers, our parents were talking about it.
I just felt despair. It was worse than concern. It was just sadness. I didn't think there was anything anyone could do.
We got older and we realized that the grown-ups weren't doing anything about it. We kind of lost our faith in adults.
If they care about us, they should care about our future too.
No one was going to protect our future for us, and so we were on our own.
I think the fight against climate change is kind of like the fight of Harry Potter and the Death Eaters.
Harry Potter was born into this problem, just like we were born into this problem. We saw that Harry Potter was brave.
Even though he was a kid, he made a difference.
We kind of saw him as a role model.
When I was watching the Young Voices for the Planet films, I'd never seen kids in action before, and it was really, really amazing. And I realized that there was nothing different between me and the kids on those screens, and I could be doing what they were doing.
We thought, can we do something like this? Is it possible?
So I got really excited, and I got out a notepad, and I started writing. And I didn't know what I was going to do, but I was going to do something. All of a sudden, this idea just popped into my head. Save Tomorrow, that would be the group name.
Here in Lexington, the town laws didn't allow solarization of our town buildings.
We learned that there was a chance for all three of us to come and talk about climate change at the town meeting.
Lily and Mari and I all wrote some statements to try and get them to allow solar panels to go on public buildings.
At first, we were a little bit scared. These are a bunch of grown-ups. They run the world.
To stop climate change, everyone has to pitch in and help. That means all of us right here in Lexington.
We decided to quote Dr. Seuss, using a quote from the Lorax. We said it together.
And remember, as Dr. Seuss said, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's gonna get better. It's not. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies.
And then the whole town meeting just stands up and starts clapping. Even the moderator was clapping.
All those in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed?
It kind of hit us. We had helped this article pass unanimously.
It is unanimous. The motion carries.
We literally just skipped out of the town hall.
We had helped to get solar panels on all the town buildings. We weren't just helpless little girls.
We have more power than we'd ever imagined in our wildest dreams.
After that, it was like, well, we did that. What can we do now?
We found out that they were planning to tear down part of our forest right next to Alice's house.
It's so quiet and peaceful out there. All you can hear is like birds and wind.
Makes you feel really free.
It's just like a whole separate world.
We have forts back there. We have owls back there that we know. We know where all the animals live. We love those forests. And it was devastating to think that they could just tear down all those trees without even thinking about it. We immediately knew that we weren't gonna let this happen. We made a petition to save our woods.
To whom it may concern, we are the kids of Lexington, and we have too many amazing memories of Mountain Road without anyone disturbing the beautiful forest there.
And then we went around to the whole cafeteria asking people, do you want to sign this? Then we turned it in. And I think that they were really just overwhelmed. A bunch of school children all fighting for this little lot of woods behind their houses. This is like where they play. And I'm pretty sure they hadn't even realized that.
One of the reasons why people listen to kids is because we're trying to do what's right.
Whereas some adults, they're doing it for the money.
But they realized how much this plot of land meant to all of us, and I think that really helped them make their decision. They kept the woods there, and the woods are still there today.
We saved the woods from there to beyond my house over there. Yeah. It's more like a corridor in between two big woods. Yeah, a passageway for the animals.
We realized, wait, we have a new school. We can put solar panels on our new school, reducing CO2 emissions and really doing something about climate change. Our whole school will be helping save the world.
We need to go out there and take a risk to make a difference.
We're taking it into our hands now.
Seeing that we do have power and that we can make a change in the world, it's really inspiring. It really changes you. and I think it's just gonna grow from here. So find your team, find your passion, find your power. We could power our whole town on clean solar energy.
And that wasn't scripted, that find your team, find your power, find your passion, find your power. That she just made that up on the spot. These girls are really sharp. So I'm going to show you. This film, Team Marine, was one of the early films, and we went out to California and we shot 3 of these films in a row after we got funding from a number of funders.
Team Marine is a group of students from Santa Monica High School. One problem that caught our eye were the effects that plastic bags have on the ocean.
Living in a beach community that Santa Monica is, we were very aware of all the trash in the streets, in the ocean, and also the storm drains, because not only do we get the litter that we create, but we also get everyone else's litter because it's all channeling into the ocean. There are multiple problems with plastic bags because while they may seem convenient, the production uses a lot of petroleum and it uses a lot of energy, which is fossil fuel based, and it affects global warming. Annually, 6 billion plastic bags are made in Los Angeles County and less than 5% are recycled.
The petroleum used to make 14 plastic bags can drive a car 1 mile. How much resources we use just to make these simple plastic bags that are a one-time use only is really not worth it.
Well, most plastic bags end up in the ocean, and it kills about 100,000 marine animals each year and close to 1 billion seabirds each year. What happens is they turn into small bits and go into the ocean, and different sea animals mistake it for food, and then it ends up in their stomach, and sadly, they die.
Most of what Team Marine did was community outreach, so we went in the community to educate others. We've done everything from participating in beach cleanups to actually hosting our own marches against plastic bags, to testifying at City Council, to creating a video for others to watch and posting on YouTube, to going into schools and doing lesson plans, and also going to grocery stores and asking them, are you being environmentally friendly?
We're here at the Santa Monica storm drain.
Evelina and I decided to go down to the storm drain.
Look at this shameful presence, people. Shameful.
Oh God, I'm blinded by its disgustingness.
And we decided to track all the plastic bits that were coming from the storm drain and landing on the ocean. We decided to pay attention to these plastic bits because most animals, such as seagulls, different birds, and other marine life, when they see the trash, they don't recognize that it's a piece of trash.
1 million seabirds die annually because of plastic bags.
These bags kill innocent little fishies, and they have oil and petroleum, which leads to global warming, and we don't want that.
We held 2 marches to propose the ban on plastic bags in the city of Santa Monica. I'm never going to forget the day we actually went down to City Hall when they banned plastic.
Just for the convenience, we produce something for just a few minutes of use, but it lasts many lifetimes.
We were there till 1 a.m. and they finally said that they would ban plastic. They're the first city to actually put a ban on plastic and then put a tax on paper bags.
Good evening. I'm the Santa Monica Plastic Bag Monster.
I'm doing what I do best. I emit excess greenhouse gases, I litter the streets, I find my way into storm drains, and then I pollute the ocean, which therefore kills animals.
Well, I'm just kind of wondering, it must be kind of tough for a fellow like you to get a date.
I myself, as a teenager using reusable bags at a grocery store, I get looked at a lot because I'm a teenager, you know? I mean, teenagers don't really use reusable bags, you know, it's not cool. But I mean, I think it's cool, and definitely everyone can do it.
We just need to take the initiative, and we need to move a lot farther than we are right now.
It's more, I feel, an ethical problem than an environmental problem, because we all have the power to reduce our carbon footprint.
If I could use a reusable bag and seriously take plastic bags out of my life, I'm sure anyone else can. It's just an easy step that everyone can do. And I'm sure if the County of Los Angeles can ban plastic bags, the whole nation can.
This is a collective impact. It will have so much benefits for the world as a whole.
Reduce, reuse, recycle, refuse, and rethink.
So we've come a long way since there. I mean, there are a lot of towns don't. A lot of places give you paper reusable bags, and a lot of places have banned plastic bags. So we have actually made quite a bit of progress since this film. The Last Straw is another example, you know, where the boy Milo Kress started the campaign. He started the campaign against straws, and now there are a lot of restaurants where you go in and they don't automatically give you a straw. So sometimes I've found campaigns, you know, take 10 years, but you have to be in there for the long haul. As far as plastics, I know that New York State just had a bill come up where they were trying to, it's called the reduction in plastics, to reduce plastics. So a lot of places are.
Say hi, Jasa. Jasa, say hi.
Hi.
When I was 6, I had a horrible asthma attack to the point where I actually had to exert myself breathing because I had so much trouble pulling air into my lungs.
My sister-in-law was a nurse, and she got her stethoscope and checked Jasa, threw her in my arms, and told me to rush her to the emergency room right now.
A lot of kids in my school have trouble breathing and have to be hospitalized. I know it was really hard for some kids in gym. There was like an entire cabinet filled with asthma medicine.
This is the coal-fired power plant.
The coal plant spews a lot of toxins, so I knew that that had something to do with why my daughter had an asthma attack.
My neighborhood isn't very rich. I don't know why there are so many plants in Bridgeport. There's the garbage plant, the sewage plant, the landfill, and the coal-fired power plant. I started searching up power plants, and when I saw how it actually affects people, I thought, that's horrible. I actually have to do something about this. PSEG is the company that runs the power plant in my neighborhood.
PSEG knew what was in their smokestacks.
I really wish I could get into other people's head, like people in the PSEG, what are they thinking putting polluting power plants in our backyard? I think it may be a case of environmental racism. Up in Westport, they have like mowed lawns, like picture perfect. And this is the most important thing: no power plants. No rich white neighborhood would ever allow some power plant to just be built in their backyard. So what companies do is pick a neighborhood that's poor, and usually these neighborhoods are colored neighborhoods.
Some people have had a really big impact on my life. Harriet Tubman proved that if you put your mind to it, you will be able to free yourself from oppression. Martin Luther King proved that not every conflict has to be solved with violence. My mom is my hero because she helps make the world a better place. She's a first sergeant in the Army Reserves. My dad, he's a musician, so he's able to inspire people and make them happy. He plays reggae music because he was born in Jamaica.
What's our goal? No more coal! What's our goal? No more coal!
This group called Healthy Connecticut Alliance asked me if I wanted to do this event speaking to the city hall because I had asthma and I've been affected by it. And I said, yeah, okay.
She's come on stage with me a few times. She came on stage and she took the microphone from me and walked away with it. She's there performing a dance. I'm like, this girl, she has no fear. I was so proud of her. I was surprised when I heard that she was writing her own speeches.
Hello everyone, my name is Jason Mellers. I am 10 years old and I attend Bryan School.
I didn't know if anybody would listen to me.
I am here today to talk about retiring the coal plant and restricting other bad polluters from polluting Bridgeport.
Because when you're a kid, it's hard to get anybody to listen to you.
I know that Fairfield County has the worst air pollution in the state. I know that because I'm smart and I looked it up on the internet.
That led to a long road of fighting and testifying. I just say what I'm feeling, and it sounds a lot more powerful when you talk from the heart. It came out that they were going to close the power plant, and I had to hear it a couple of times. Are you sure? Is that what they said? Where is it in writing?
When I found out, I was just ecstatic because we worked so hard to get this place shut down, and it was just really satisfying to know that all of our hard work paid off and that it wouldn't be hurting anybody anymore.
Hi!
Even though I didn't have money, I had words, and words have power.
No, it's been such a gift getting to know these young people. They're just, and I hope that that you have a chance to watch some of the other Young Voices for the Planet films, which you can just get online there. But a lot, you'll see a lot of the things that if teachers want to empower their students. I think going and giving public comment, whether it's your county council or your school board, is really important to show kids that they do have a voice and to express their concerns. Meeting with officials, that they're just people and that they too could run for office when they get a little older. And I think Greta Thunberg has really shown us the power of one person's voice. This is another of my favorite videos. It's the Children's March, and it's a story about how during the Civil Rights Movement, a lot of the adults were afraid to go out in the streets. They'd get beaten up, they get harmed, but the kids, hundreds of kids left their schools, and they created this Children's March, and it was the children who gave the adults the courage to actually go out there and march. This is really wonderful to show to students. So the Young Voices for the Planet films have a lot of information about what you can do. The CELF, if you look at the CELF website, Children's Environmental Literacy Foundation, they have the curriculum for the Young Voices for the Planet films on their website. But and this is part of that, just a short list of what you can do if you want to start a campaign for your town or for your school to install electric plug-ins for hybrid cars, convert your bus fleet to electric buses, transform the town's energy sources to renewable, change ordinances that prohibit solar panels, purchase wind or solar power, offer incentives for citizens to install solar, tax credits, ban styrofoam, ban plastic bags, provide filling stations to fill up canteens with spring water, educate the community about carrying their own reusable water bottle, and banning drinking straws, asking local restaurants to stop putting straws automatically in drinks, pass a tree ordinance. I mean, they're endless, but all this you can find on the CELF website. So I want to make sure we have some time for questions. I have about 5 more minutes. So thank you again for being here, and see if anyone has questions.
Thank you, Lynn. That's great. Maybe if we come at a screen share, we can see everyone's faces and boxes. There is a question in the chat box from Felipe. Can Miss Sherry give us any other examples of people she featured in her films as adults agents of change? I think it's always good to know where these students are now.
So I showed you the picture of Alec Lors, the one with the sea level awareness post from he's in the movie Kids versus Global Warming, and he's now a lawyer in Canada. And the boy Milo Kress, who had the straw campaign, Stop the Straw campaign. The last time I talked to him, he was at MIT. He's probably graduated by now. I've got to get back in touch with him. A lot of these kids, they like Jasa, she was trying to figure. I took her actually around to some colleges and introduced her to some my professors from where I'd gone to school, and she was having a hard time figuring out, did she want to go into IT? Did she want to become a politician? Did she want to be a lawyer? Because she could have done anything. So I know she took a gap year. Last time I talked to her, she was working for AmeriCorps.
Oh, wow. How old is Jason now?
Let's see.
Is she in her 20s? Or early 20s?
Yeah, she's probably just about 20 now.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember we had her speak virtually at a student panel with CELF a couple of years back, and it's just so powerful.
She takes the house down.
Yes.
Every time.
Yeah. And she's very humbled by it too, but she's a powerhouse.
She's a wonderful person. Yeah. And then I told you about Felix Finkbeiner. I strongly recommend you watch that film, Plant for the Planet. He's a dynamo, and now, one of the world's experts on trees and speaking around the world.
David has his hand up.
Yeah, we're joined today by a number of students, middle school students from Pakistan who are eco officers in their schools. And for them, it's now about 8 o'clock at night. But I'd love to hear, if Isla or somebody else wanted to just share both their reactions to these young heroes and some of the things that they're doing.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Anybody want to be brave and unmute yourself and share? Or just ask a question?
I mean, it's just amazing how so many children can do so much, because we watched the first one and I saw there's just 3 friends, and they're 10 years old, I guess. I don't know how old they were. They looked really young, but they did so much. And if you just try to do something, then you can achieve so much, and you wouldn't even know it if you never did. And I tell all my friends and all the people I know, I even tell my brother, he's younger than me. I tell everyone that you never know until you try, and you have to try to do it. Like in my neighborhood, I just plant trees whenever I have the chance. And if I see some, there's pots, big cement pots. So I plant trees there. I try to do stuff on my own. And then I tell other people as well. But these kids are so much younger and they've done so much.
Yeah, it's really impressive, isn't it? Well, and the thing that I found is when kids get involved in an issue, they always get media attention. For adults, it's really hard to get media attention, but kids always get media attention. And so, for every issue that I've ever been involved in, especially saving land, that's been a big thing, I get kids speaking out, involved with it, and then the media comes, and then they have every time I've worked with them, we've won what we were working for. So kids have great power. Are there any more questions?
Mina, did you want to say something? You raised your hand for a second and then you pulled it down.
Yes, I was about to tell you that the last time I took a meeting with you guys, after that we carried out a lot of initiatives in our school. So one, we banned like plastic bottles from the canteen and like the using of like plastic bags and stuff. So we banned that. And then we also like made these little posters to like show how like students can turn off the lights before they leave the classroom and stuff. And we also planted more trees and put trees in our classrooms as well. So it was really nice.
That's great. Yeah, the plastic issue has really just gotten a lot of steam in the last 2 decades since these films came out. And there in New York State, I think I was mentioning that they had there's a piece of legislation to reduce a Plastic Reduction Act that almost went through. Maybe it didn't go through the first time, but it'll no doubt go through eventually. And so I think people are realizing the peril of plastics, that they never go away. So I'm here at Georgetown, and I'd also like to give a shout out to Georgetown University. Thank you very much for my artist in residence here. And they, one of the scientists here is studying the community of organisms that are now colonizing these rafts of plastic in the ocean. That it's some are these new life forms, these new critters that they've never seen are now growing on plastics, and they're trying to figure out, well, is this good or bad or neither, but like just trying to understand how it is that they are surviving on plastic. Very interesting. So
yeah, but before we go, I just also wanted to, again, especially for the students from Pakistan, to let you know that the next 2 weeks at this time, so Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Pakistan, we will be having webinars focused on you as youth. So next week we're going to have another children's book author, and then the following week, Ms. Camille with her rooster is going to be showing some of the one of the films with the Kids for Positive Change that she works for. So please come again on Tuesdays at this same time, Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pakistan time, and tell your friends to join us too, please.
And David,
and of course, that's not just for kids.
Are these being recorded?
Yes.
Okay, so where do we go if we want to see your programs, the recordings of
they're on our YouTube channel. I'll put the YouTube channel into the chat.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And then we also have Mariah or Mazaya putting some of the things that she's been doing as a student as well. So and comments. So thank you.
All right. Thank you again, Lynn. If there are no other questions, thank you all for your time being with us here today during Worldwide Teaching Climate Justice. Hope you all enjoy the rest of what sounds like your evening. So hopefully you get some food and dinner. Thank you all, Lynn, Sherry. Thank you. Thank you, David, for coordinating this. It's been great being online. And we wish you all a good evening.
And is this recorded? So
yes, this is recorded as well.
Because a lot of people came in late, and how do they just go to selfeducation.org?
Yeah, we'll drop that in the chat.
Email to everyone who was on our RSVP list with the recording and with some follow-up links that were shared in yesterday's and today's sessions.
Okay. And Tara and Vicky, thank you so much again. Thanks to CELF for hosting this. Really appreciate it.
Of course.
Lynn. Thank you, David. Thank you all.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Enjoy the rest of your week.